So we can start assembly. My name's Charles and I'm nervous about riding a mini bike.
It's got to be the fastest we've ever done that. What's up, everybody? Today on Cars and Cameras, we are building what will be one of the fastest trail mini bikes in the world. In the last episode, we built a monster 263cc Tillotson big bore stroker, billet head, big carburetor, very high performance engine. And in today's episode, we're going to be installing it on arguably the best trail mini bike on sale right now, and that's the Mega Moto 212. This is going to be Charles's personal trail bike because he hit the limit of his Coleman CT200 UEX Dirt Hog. For the parts overview, the centerpiece is, of course, the Tillotson 263 3-inch bore stroker engine producing somewhere around 30 horsepower. It's going to be an absolute monster. We have the Juggernaut torque converter with a 420 chain sending power to the rear tire. And with all that power means we're going to need something to slow us down. So the Mega Moto 212 comes from the factory with front and rear disc brakes. We have a buddy who has a 236 on one of these, and it can stop them reliably and consistently from 70 miles an hour, no problem. Front and rear fenders, we're upgrading the factory chain to the 420 racing chain. Our gearing is going to be a 9-tooth front sprocket, a 53-tooth rear sprocket, and we have a 19-inch tire here now, but we're going to be upgrading to a 20-inch. So we're expecting a top speed of near 80 miles an hour on this mini bike.
Good gracious, that's a lot of sauce.
You're gonna have to hold on for dear life, dude. That covers the basics. Let's get right into assembly so we can install this engine, get it good and broken in on the bike, and then you're gonna have to try not to wheelie, bud.
Oh my gosh, yeah, a lot of leaning forward on this one.
Yeah. So the reason we're choosing this chassis for our monster of an engine is the fact that the Mega Moto 212 is the most heavy-duty mini bike for sale on the market. It has the most heavy-duty chassis, it has the biggest diameter neck tube here, and it has the biggest bolt for the neck tube. And I mean, look at these bearings. I mean, that's like motorcycle quality bearings right there.
So we're going to start things off by assembling the front end. We've already done an in-depth video on how to put one of these bikes together. We'll link that in the description below, wherever it goes. But we're going to be focusing on the technical side for this build. So I'm going to go ahead. We already caught word that you should lube up these bearings, but don't go heavy because it's not a sealed system. So potentially small dust can get into the bearing, and basically you're going to turn your grease into grit, and you're just going to kind of slowly taper them away. So we're just going to put like a dab on each bearing just so it has something in there, and just keep an eye on it. So if dust starts building up, clean it and just reload it with WD-40 or something. But it's kind of your own preference.
Yep, and there's some holes here, so debris will get in if you're going to use it as an off-road trail bike like this bike. So you could cover it, or you could potentially even leave it dry. Dealer's choice.
And I know I didn't pack these right. I'm not going for that.
Just the slightest bit of grease on there, just to keep the race from rusting.
Oh gosh. But you want to make sure that wave washer is underneath of it. Oh goodness. When installing the fork tubes, you got to pay attention that there is a left and a right. The left one will have the bracket for the brake caliper. All right, there's that. Oh man, this is nice. And you want the brackets pointing down. And you want to put your front axle bolt in so these are lined up. And send it home. You really want to make sure these are tight. we're gonna go ahead and tighten this nut before we forget, because I feel like if we put the handlebars on,
It'll be time to ride.
We're gonna forget. I gotta be really careful. I don't want to scratch my paint. Probably already scratched it by now.
It's getting away from you there.
Yeah, it really is. This might be something you need help with. Have a friend help you, but if not, no big deal. Just kind of like you don't want these things flying around and like denting your paint or whatever. Kind of reminds me of that time we built that race bike in 5 hours for the 180.
That was fun.
That was fun, honestly, it really was. And these are something you really don't want to over torque, because I have broken the cap like right in half.
Oh yeah. So we said in our last episode, but the attention to detail on the Mega Moto 212 is just so good for a mini bike. I mean, it comes with this hold down, like I said, but it also comes with these nice grommets, so you're not just tightening down on your brake line. It's good stuff.
And don't be too worried if there's an extra one on here. I think this brake assembly fits a couple different bikes, so no worries. If you don't like it, just leave it on there or cut it off, but don't cut your brake line. These brakes are pre-bled from Go Power Sports, but you want to make sure you take the parking puck out of there, and don't pump the brakes, because you don't want to have those brake pads go together, because to spread them apart with a screwdriver, it just tears them up. And this job, it may be easier done, or a lot easier with a friend, but since it's up on the table, it's really not too bad.
You got some bushings here.
Oh yeah.
Here we go. You got it?
Yes, sir.
You want me to hold the tire or anything, or?
Oh boy.
What do you want me to do?
Just catch whatever I drop.
Okay. Tag me in, coach.
Oh boy.
Are you losing the bike?
Oh, losing the frame. You heard my scared voice.
Pretty
right,
simple.
Spacer.
Yep. Spacer. Go ahead and push it. And bingo.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
We're losing the bike.
It wedged itself.
Perfect.
Okay. A few old timers will be happy that the nut's on this side, because it'll constantly be tightening itself.
So this Mega Moto 212 wheel has a spacer in between to protect the bearings from over tightening them, so you can crank down on these axles pretty well. We're actually going to be swapping these tires here in a few days, just to show you guys a before and after of these tires versus these from Go Power Sports, because when you're running a lot of power, those are the tires to have, and we're going to show you exactly why. So we installed a set of pillow top grips. They're nice and soft and very grippy. Gonna need all the throttle control you can get on this thing. We also have a tachometer, and it's also gonna count the engine hours, and that's what's most important, because this is such a, it's a high budget build. We need to keep an eye on oil change intervals. So that's the main purpose of that. And plus, after you run at the drag strip, you can go back and tell people that was an 8,700 RPM path. So I'm going to peel this off, and we are good to go.
Oh,
there we go.
sounds like it.
And then washer, and the included cotter pin.
Yeah, you got to get the grommets to engage.
So we're putting the rear axle together. That is our brake bracket, as well as the spacer that goes on the left side, and there's a nice little slot that it fits into. Don't forget your chain tensioner. You put that on first, put it through your brake bracket, through the bearing, through the wheel, onto the other side. The right side has this spacer that goes in right there. Bingo! And we can't forget the other side chain tensioner and the lock nut. And the lock nut.
It's really gonna be locked on there.
There we go. Yeah. Sweet.
And like we said before, make sure that bracket's installed in with the notch in there. You can remove your rear puck and install the brake caliper. comes with this nice Allen bit hardware. And it's got to be the right length, because too many threads, the bolt comes in contact with the rotor, and it'll just be kind of like a parking brake that you installed. I'm not so sure it's going to work, but I don't see why not.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Haha!
Hey!
That's the quickest we've gotten one on there, because I used the right tool. But that's, yeah, you want to, yep, that'll work.
What an absolute unit.
Looks like a grape flavored Tootsie Pop. This has got to be like hands down the most power that,
That just almost fell on the
it
table.
almost just fell on the floor. I guess it doesn't matter what engine you're using, but pretty much all of them with this bike, this bolt, the front right motor mount bolt, is the one that you need to put in first if you're putting the bolts up that way. Because the bolt is basically where they have it, it's positioned, they have a dent in the frame to clearance where it is, but it's like the angle of the bolt need to go in and then it's straightened up. If your motor's already there, tightened down, it can't go through the hole.
Gotcha.
So it like, and then you set the motor on it. Kind of needs just a little bit of wiggle room. That's why I say do it first.
So now we're moving on to mounting our Juggernaut driver and our driven pulleys. Now we're going to use a genuine Comet belt on this application, just because this is the only thing that's going to be able to put up with the amount of power that this engine is putting out for any amount of time. So we always talk about make sure that your primary and secondary pulleys are lined up for optimal performance and belt wear. Well, here's how we're going to do it today. We're going to install our secondary, just kind of plop it up there. Same with our primary. And we're going to take a straight edge like that on the machine surface of the secondary. So after we have this straight, we can now look at the gap we have on the primary here. So according to this, the front of the primary is actually a little bit farther away from me, so the whole engine needs to rotate. And even though that there are just bolts that drop in on this engine plate, there's still quite a bit of movement. So Charles, I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing where I want it, and you can tighten it.
Okay.
That work? Okay.
Sounds good to me.
All right, so.
I'll start tightening this.
Well, I need to adjust it a little bit.
Oh, you're fine. Go ahead. There's just a lot of threads on this one. I like how they left underneath the jack shaft hollow.
Accessible.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, still looks good up here.
All right.
And this is basically to prevent your primary from being cocked while your secondary is straight. So perfect alignment is going to lead to minimal belt wear.
So, I guess the last thing besides the belt, installing the Juggernaut torque converter, is you need to install your crankshaft bolt. But we went and added just a little bit of extra flair with that Go Power Sports billet washer. And I painted it, you know, plum crazy purple. So we're going to send it home. Oh, my paint. Oh, well. That's what spray paint does. Maybe I should have done it with a ratchet.
Looks good, bud.
Yeah.
It's still going to be fast.
Yeah, it's still going to be fast. One thing that we may or may not have talked about on the channel before is seasoning the belt, souffle style. Well, and the purpose of this is to remove the manufacturing oils and whatever else is on the outside of this, because it will go from the rubber to your to your plates, like your backing plates, and then that's just not good. There's, from what we've been told, it's a noticeable difference, and it should be done on all belts. Now, let's see if I can get this one-handed.
Yeah, it's probably less significant on something with not a lot of power, but
Yeah, if you,
we should do a Mythbusters on it.
that we should. You don't want to burn the belt. You just want to turn that cord that you see You just want it to turn golden yellow from the white color that it is. And that lets you know that you've been there long enough and you need to keep moving. And I'm not even really getting it that hot because I'm able to touch it right after I burn it. So if that tells you how long you stay on it. All right, it should be good. Nice. Flat side goes towards your engine.
One of the last things we have to install is this seat. There we go. And we went with a 9-tooth sprocket here, and that's going to be different than the stock 10. The 10 tooth. And that's basically for a little bit better off the line acceleration.
You're giving away all my secrets.
Yeah, this is a secret that's actually not expensive that anyone can do for a little bit more acceleration, and a lot of people overlook it. Perfect. There we go.
Nice.
Gold chain always looks like jewelry on these things, man.
Too bad they don't have purple chain.
Purple chain! Now that would be something.
Sounds like a song.
Yeah. Make sure your direction is correct. You want the closed side facing the rotation of the tire. A little bit of pliers action. Bingo! Now we can tension the chain, lock these down, tighten our axle. Excuse me.
My name's Charles, and I'm nervous about riding a mini bike. I don't know if that's ever happened to y'all, but yeah, just take that in. Just be like, oh man, riding something with 30 horsepower that's supposed to have 6. Go fast, don't die. Okay, so the objective of today is to finish breaking in the engine, kind of put it around the property on the bike, change the oil after that, of course, but we really need to focus on the fueling aspect of this because it's an unknown combination with this carburetor engine setup. I think we got a 190 in it right now, so we're gonna see if we need to go fatter or leaner. So I guess, yeah, after the first ride, we'll check the spark plug and just go from there. So no, not too much throttle, Charles. And once we get this thing dialed in a little bit better, we can really, you know, put the hammer down.
Don't forget, anytime you put together a new engine, carburetor, you mess with the throttle linkage, anything, put it up against something solid, like a 1999 short bus.
Thanks, Ike. All right, so on choke. Let's see. It wants to go.
It wants to go.
I'm just gonna let it go.
Yep. So we have a belt on this thing that's so tight, it just wants to go when it's idling. You can tell he's like tensed up and a little bit afraid.
That was like 10% throttle and then like 15 every now and then. That was crazy. I guess we need to look over this thing and just check for leaks, make sure it's all buttoned up, and probably just check the spark plug and see how the fuel's doing.
So we have about 10 minutes of runtime on this Super Hog, as we're calling it, and we have a 190 jet in it right now, and she is certainly lean. So we're going to jump all the way up to a 250. So we're going to just pop the bowl off, Should be a quick jet change. We'll be back to testing.
Yeah, I think it's this this big 6-point thing right here. I think we could just pull that out and not drop the whole bowl. I'm not sure. I think that's how we were doing it on the drag rail. So. Okay, so it's got a 200 in it, and we're going to a.
Should be a 250.
250. All right.
It's a pretty big change.
Wow. So for reference, the 250 jet comes with the Mikuni kit for the 301 big block from Go Power Sports. That's how much fuel we're putting in this puppy.
Well, you got to think 263 cc's at
Is
9,000 RPM is going to flow a lot more air than a 301 at 4,000, 5,000. So
I know, it's crazy. I was going up the hill at 3,600 RPM, and it was just cruising. And that's like full throttle for a go-kart. It's funny. So now that we've got a baseline tune-up that we're happy with and it's safe for the engine, we're gonna let it rip, but we gotta do it safely because, you know, we're limited on room here, so we're just gonna see what it's got.
it's got to be the fastest we've ever done that. Whoa! You can see wheel spin. It is digging a trench as he's driving by at 45 miles an hour. Aren't you glad you got those front brakes?
Yeah, and I probably should have had the chest protector on, but when I went by you, that was just a little over half throttle.
Dude, look at the trench you are digging. Hold on, right down here, you can see you're digging a trench with the rear tire.
Back on the ground, yeah. It comes up a little bit. This is the rolling burnout, 100%. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yep, and it looks like we overfilled it a little bit still with some oil. But that's cool because this is the one-way valve. It pushes out and won't go back in.
Oh, nice.
So,
okay.
Yeah, we'll just, we frapped it a little bit, but no big deal. But my goodness, this is a handful and a half. Good luck, everybody else. That's all I got to say. Oh boy, look. Yeah, we definitely overfilled it.
Oh, oops.
But that's okay. That's why we vented it all the way back here. I don't like that it's dripping on my brakes.
On the brake.
I might route it on this side.
Well,
so it'll lube the chain.
Yeah. All right, folks. Remember, this is a 9,000 RPM engine.
Yep.
And Charles has only hit 6890 so far. So that's why we need more space.
I told you it was just a little over half throttle, it felt like, because I would like the wrist position, like this is like full on, and it was like I was riding like this, so that was, oh my goodness. Whew. All right.
You mind if I give it a go?
Yes. Yeah, just please be careful, because I think the next time we really open this thing up, we need to go to the dirt drag strip.
Okay. Well, I can't let Charles have all the fun, so I'm gonna give it a shot, and then we're gonna get a baseline lap time around the Cars and Cameras Grand Prix.
Good luck, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Disappeared in a cloud of dust.
Woo! Let me check my RPMs. I did go full throttle a couple of times.
Oh boy.
I mean, it still wasn't up there, Yeah. All right. Yeah, still at 6890, so you had the most RPM still.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah. Dude, all right, so the plan was to put this around the Grand Prix with these tires and then swap to the good tires to show you why, if you're doing any performance riding, you need these tires we're about to install. But I think it's just straight up too dangerous.
I agree. I think we're gonna be almost going to be sandbagging with these tires because we're afraid of laying the bike down.
You can't put any confidence in them.
Yep, and it's just we have overpowered the tire.
Yeah, they're fine for like the street or concrete or like mild dirt and grass, but if you're doing any technical or performance riding, you want to swap the tires.
I guess you could say they don't have lateral traction.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. Someone
if you're turning, you're screwed.
Yeah. Yeah, you better be pointing in a straight line when you give it the gas on this thing.
So instead of hot lapping with the stock tires, we're gonna do a couple of drag races up against, I mean, a decently quick mini bike, a Mega Moto 212 complete kit from Go Power Sports. Basically, it's an electric start Tillotson 212 with a stage 1 kit, being a pod filter, a carburetor jet, and an exhaust. Not a bad bike by any means. So we're gonna line these up and see what we can do. The other thing we want to point out is that Charles's bike is geared for 80 to 85 miles an hour, and we still have that much wheel spin. So we really can't open it up all the way here. But in the next episode, we're gonna really, really rip it. But for now, rather than dying on the stock tires, we're gonna show you what it's like up against a stage 1. You ready, bud?
Oh yeah.
All right. And remember, this is the same basic chassis, Mega Moto 212.
Oh yeah.
10 horsepower, somewhere around 30 or more.
Yeah, undisclosed.
Yeah, undisclosed. Here we go. It's not even the same bike.
No,
It's not even close.
It's not even the same ballpark.
Dude, I gave you 3 bike lengths, and I passed you and was on the brakes before the end of the track.
That's a fast bike.
The Super Hog.
That is
legendary.
Whew.
So it's safe to say that Charles's new 263 bike is absolutely insane. We had it out at Mini Mayhem last weekend, and I don't want to spoil it too much, but here's a little bit of a teaser clip, because we were certainly just getting used to it out here. Of course, none of this would have been possible without Go Power Sports, Johnnie at Laid Back Racing, and Mark at Blackmarkit Innovations. I will link all the parts that we used in the video description if you want to check them out for yourself, but it is one heck of a missile, to say the least. This weekend, Saturday, May 20th, we are going to be at Rockwood Go-Karts and Mini Golf for the first annual Pull Start Picnic, a mini bike show with the guys from Go Power Sports. I'll link it in the video description, but come and enter your mini bike into the show, or just come and hang out and see all there is to see. We're putting something together right now just for the mini bike show, and I've been told that Cars and Cameras is going to be judging one of the classes as well. So, we'll see you this weekend. Thank you all for watching the 263 Super Hog build. We'll see you next time.